I'm going to take the liberty of assuming that most people fall into one of either three bins in terms of their goals. Again, most people. Certainly there are going to be people that lie outside these bins. I think if you polled 100 people or 100,000 or 1,000,000 people as to what their major goals were in working out, they'd say, as you so nicely listed out before, aesthetic changes, functionality, and longevity. But that 1 in 3 really kind of sit higher than most people would like to perhaps even admit. They want to look good, which usually means they want to lose some fat, gain some muscle in specific places. I realize there are folks out there who want to gain a lot of muscle, just muscle everywhere. But I think most people would like to have a little more shape here or a little more muscle there to either balance out their aesthetic or to accentuate certain parts of their physique. And they would probably like to shave off some subcutaneous fat, although there are those exceptionally lean people out there, and they exist too. I think it would be gain muscle in specific places, lose fat, and do it in a way that also provides some boost to their health span and longevity. I would say that might even be 50% of people out there. Again, I'm taking the liberty of guesstimating. Another bin I would venture is interested in getting stronger and putting on more muscle. Certainly there are a number of people that are interested in doing that. And that could even be more muscle all over or more muscle with some accentuation to certain areas where they happen to be weaker or less developed, as it were. And then the third bin would be people that really enjoy cardiovascular work. Oh, I should say the second bin probably care about their longevity also, but it's not really foremost. Like, yeah, I feel great now and I'll live to be whatever, but I only want to do it if I get that much muscle, right? We know these kinds of folks. I
run a poll in my class every year when I ask, like, what you guys all lift? And of course, like, I make them put their hand up. I'm like, you guys are in my class. You're going to put your hand up if let you lift weights. And then I ask them, like, why do you train? And like long-term health is like on the list. And they all I'm like, any of you that selected health are liars. Like, you're 20 to 25. You are not exercising for health. You are exercising because you want to look a certain way or get stronger. Once you get past that undergraduate age, though, the actual desire to live longer and better actually becomes pretty real.
Yeah, I think that there are people who want to feel better. They know that exercise and the results from exercise can make them feel better. But yeah, that second bin tends to be more focused on the aesthetic change, it seems, or being strong. And then the third category, I think, are people, I know a lot of folks like this, who really enjoy what are normally considered endurance type activities. And here, I just want to highlight again what you so beautifully illustrated in previous episodes, that you can gain a lot of endurance even using weights or machines. It just depends on how you use them, right?
Absolutely.
It's not about the exercise, it's about how you perform them, and et cetera. And you, again, beautifully provided all those details as to how to create endurance regardless of equipment standards, et cetera. But that third category seem to be people who enjoy running, cycling, swimming, hiking, dancing, activities that they can do for long periods of time that often will involve some sort of skill that is based on improving motor patterns. So maybe not so much stride, but certainly for people that really love tennis.
Yeah.
People that love a sport like golf, right? They want to be able to not just walk, they want to walk the 18 holes. They want to have a great golf swing, et cetera. I'm not a golf player, so forgive me if my nomenclature is off.
Golfer,
so I would say there are three
golfer.
Yeah, golfer.
You don't play golf.
Oh, got it. You don't play golf.
Well, you play golf, but you wouldn't call a golf player.
I played miniature golf a few times. That's about it. Although Stanford does have a beautiful golf course, I'm told I should learn how to play golf.
I'll come up and play it for you if you want. You come up, I'll play it. I'll tell you how it looks. Get me on that course.
Almost see it from my lab. So category one, I think, is a significant fraction of people.
Yeah.
So as we lay out these different ways to assess goals, and as we approach the structure of a program, as you'll tell us, if we could perhaps touch back to those every once in a while, I'm taking the liberty of assuming that we will net about 80 to 90% of people out there. Again, those categories being people who want to lose some fat, maybe build some muscle in specific areas on their body, and really want to be healthy. They want to feel great, and they want to have a long health span, aka end lifespan. They want to live a long time feeling great. Second category, people who want to build more muscle and strength. Sure, they don't want to damage their health, but that's not their main focus. Their main focus is on building muscle and strength. And then that third category of people who really want to do more endurance type work, feel great and strong doing it, but not because they can, carry heavy weights while they're doing it, but rather they can feel vital and they can push harder for longer, and maybe even translate that to some of the more recreational type activities or sports like tennis and things that are more long duration, playing soccer, maybe even softball or things of that sort.
Yeah, surfing, swimming, all
so
that
those
stuff.
three categories, maybe we could call those bin A, B, and C for sake of today's discussion. I think if you're willing to embrace
I love it.
I think that will be informative toward our listeners in a way that simply not assuming what people's different goals are might not be able to accomplish. Said differently, hopefully by doing that, people will derive a lot more from the description of the program that you're going to give us.
Love it.
Now I am certain that I want to let you return to your list of the 5 things that people need to consider when establishing a exercise program.
Yeah, great. Let's do that. I also do want to acknowledge a point you've brought up acutely. Exercise doesn't mean just lifting weights. That's my background. That's what I spend my time on. So I sort of default to examples in that category, but it doesn't have to be that. You've articulated plenty of other ways where you can get amazing forms of exercise that have nothing to do with lifting weights. So for those folks in what was it, bin C or 3? I can't remember.
C. We go A is gain muscle, lose fat, be healthy now and forever.
Right.
Bin B is get stronger, gain muscle, don't damage your health, but not really focus on health in the immediate term. And then bin C is want to play or do endurance type activities and quote unquote feel strong doing it. So have more vigor to be able to do that longer and maybe with more attention to skill, et cetera. And of course, also want to improve their health.
What you've effectively done is you've given us 3 different avatars with 3 different goals, right? So the next step for each person or group is going to be to identify their defenders. But before we get that, we got to close the loop on this SMART thing. So in each case, they have either chosen that goal based on their personal preference, or perhaps they did our fitness testing protocol and realized they need to gain strength. So whether the reason they chose to be in buckets B or A or C was because of our protocol or it's just personal preference, it really doesn't matter. They still want to go through this process of laying out their goals and making sure that, again, they're specific, right? So let's go through bin C, which is a great one. So you want to have more energy and you want to feel stronger when you're doing your kiteboarding. You want to feel stronger when you finish your round of tennis, round of golf, game of tennis. Okay, great. That's a different strength. Absolutely. See, I know what you're saying though. Amazing. So that goal needs to be specific to that, right? So it would be hard to make a goal like, I want to feel better at the end of my round. Boy, that depends on too many other factors. A better goal would be something like this. I want to be able to run this 2-mile loop that I do around my neighborhood, and I want to do it and have a lower heart rate at the end. Or I want to be able to get my heart rate recovery back faster. Amazing. That will probably align with you feeling quote unquote stronger with it, right? So I did the same course and either I can do it at the same speed and it's not nearly as hard, or I can go faster. Whichever one, it doesn't matter. But that would be an example of a specific goal. The other buckets you laid out kind of already have specific goals, like I want to get stronger. Well, that's going to be the goal. The other one is going to be, I want to lose some fat. Okay, that's kind of, the goal is sort of implicit in that. It's the other people where you're just like, I don't really care about that. I just want to be able to surf the great waves and then not feel exhausted afterwards. All right, cool. Well, then you still should pick a metric that is not that activity maybe, because it won't be within your control depending on the waves and the temperature and all this stuff, that you can use as a proxy to say, if I were to do something that represented me feeling probably better when I surf, what would that be? And it's not perfect, but it would be still as specific as you could get. You still want to make sure it's measurable. Again, in this example might be something like you're going to go to the pool and time how long it takes you to swim 800 meters or something, right? It's attainable, and then you'll set a goal that's realistic and timely. I'm going to improve by 5% in the next 2 months. Okay, cool. That probably falls within the realm. And then you're making the assumption that if you did that, you'll probably feel better when you go out to do your primary activity, which is, say, surf. The reality of it is, every time we work with an actual athlete, that's what we do. Athletes don't come to us to lift weights. They don't come to us to get stronger. They come to us because they want to play better and they want to stay on the field more. What we're trying to convince them of is if you do this thing in the gym, then that should translate into you being better at your sport, recovering faster, being less injured. But it's still just a proxy. And so that's all you're doing with these other non-specific goals, especially when they're performance-based goals. And we didn't package it that way, but that's really what you talked about for bin C there. It is a performance-based goal. I want to be able to perform when I'm in the field. And my brain, that's a sport. And your brain, it's when you're at yoga class. It's the same thing. Like we've said this earlier in our series, that if you have a body, you're an athlete. I want to prepare your body such that it can do exactly what you want it to do. You then get to have the choice of what you ask it to do. You call it a sport, you call it your Saturday hike with your family, I don't really care. It's the same thing. You get control of your body performing the way you want it to perform, and that's what this whole thing is about. Great. So now that we've covered, I think, as much as we need to regarding assessing and choosing a goal, I want to get back to this idea of identifying your defender. So you really need to think carefully about what is stopping you from hitting those goals. And so you're forecasting a little bit. You're also going back into your own personal history, right? Do you have history of knee pain? Do you have a history of working too much? Do you have a history of a lot of travel? Do you have a history of getting sick a lot? What are these things that are happening that are going to stop you from hitting your goal? A couple of examples I've already laid out, so we don't need to go too much longer here, but in the case of somebody who is in maybe bin A, right, which is, I want to lose some fat, maybe gain a little bit of muscle. Okay, what's stopping you from the strength and conditioning side? Is it the fact that you can't train consistent enough? Is it a fact that when you go to train, you don't know what to do? Is it a fact that when you go to train, you train your ass off and you're not getting results? Okay, great. All three of these different scenarios are going to result in different programs because they have different reasons you're failing. And that is really critical. Instead of just going, I want a fat loss program and picking one up off the internet, it may not actually be addressing the point of failure for you. So the sooner you can choose your programs based on why you're failing, the sooner you'll start getting results. So you have to run a little bit of a critical analysis there. And it can be something scientific, and it could be a measurement. And it also could just be you thinking about, you've tried this in the past and why didn't it work? Wasn't that interesting? Okay, tell me more about why it wasn't interesting. I'm not really into machines, and that's all I had. Okay, great. Or I loved it. I loved the gym I was at and I was getting results, but it was so far away. Okay, interesting. Why did you stop before? Why didn't it work? Or if it did work in the past, amazing. Let's go back to something similar, but has your life changed at all? Is there anything different about now than when it worked 3 years ago? Yes, no. If not, maybe we run it right back. If it is, okay, we're going to sort of predict those things. And you want to work, effectively what I'm saying is throughout this entire 10-step process is going to be, you want to make sure that there are the non-negotiables that are in your life that you know are going to be ahead of your fitness program. And you want to work with those things, not against them, right? Because life will win. When it comes to your children, when it comes to your job, life is going to win. You're going to have to give up something. It's going to take some hard work. But we want to fight the right battles for most people, right? Even for our professional athletes. We get this all the time. It's just like they have nothing else to do but train, right? You're like, well, hold on now. They're getting traded. They have agents to deal with. They may not have a contract. They have families. Blah, blah, blah. I think life will get in the way, I promise. And so you want to fight the battles that you can win, not ones that you're going to lose. And so that's really what this game is about. So if the battle is, hey, my job is super hectic. Okay, great. We're going to come up with a different strategy that's more flexible maybe. I'm still going to hold you to the fire. I'm not going to be easier on you, but we're just not going to try to set up a situation where you have to do this workout Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. Because you know your job is on the road and you're provide all the income for your family and your children. Okay, whatever the thing is, right? That's what we really want to identify. So when I say identify your defenders, you need to run a little bit of a critical analysis on this. And a little bit of a tool I'll use for this is a modification of another system I stole from Kenny Kane, which is what we call the quadrant system. So you can imagine everything in your life goes into one of 4 buckets. All right. Now, bucket 1, I'm just going to call business. And this is anything to do with your job, income, sort of all those things. Bucket 2 is relationships. So again, this could be family or love life, like anything that we would call relationships, social connection, purpose, anything right there. Bucket 3 is your fitness. And bucket 4 is your recovery. So one of the first steps we take is we walk through this and we say, all right, you have 10 points total. And you get to distribute these 10 points across the 4 areas. So not 10 each, you get 10 total. And so we walk through and we say, right now, where are you giving your points? And we could do this right now for you if you'd like, or I could make up a scenario. Do you want to do it?
Sure.
Great. So Andrew, right now in the last month, if you had 10 points total in those 4 categories, where would you be distributing the most points? Which category and how many points would that be?
Business, my work.
Business, work, job, sort of all those things.
Right.
And how many out of 10?
Which doesn't, I should say, ever quite feel like work. Running a laboratory and doing the podcast doesn't ever really feel like work in the traditional sense, but it's career, it's work, it involves relationships, but it certainly doesn't enhance my fitness, except of my vocal cords and recovery. So with those notes there, I would say 4 to 5.
You pick.
5.
5. Fair. That's the most common number. 5, business 5.
Great. Once again, I'm typical, which makes me happy.
You nailed it.
One of the few ways in which I've been accused of being normal. I picked 5 for business.
No kidding. What's the next highest and what's that score?
I do invest in relationships. I would say, does it have to be around, can it be it
has to be a whole
decimal?
integer. Yeah.
Oh, a whole integer. 2.
2. All right. We're 7 out of 10 here. So would you say it is fair that you spend roughly 2.5% of your, it's not necessarily time, it's energy, time, focus, sort of all of these things, 2.5 times as much on your business as you do in your relationships?
It varies depending on what's going on. It feels a little skewed in the direction of business. So I might want to adjust to a 4-3 ratio there.
Maybe not.
But
no.
I think I'm going to hold to 5,
Okay.
2, business relationships, and then just for sake of example, and because this doesn't seem like a exceedingly precise measure, it can have some slop.
Of course.
Okay.
Where would you put fitness and recovery?
I definitely put energy into fitness, so I'm going to give that also a 2.
Yep. Which leaves
1 for recovery.
Great. That, what you just laid out, is, again, the most quintessential split you could have. In fact, you run this game on everyone, they're going to come up with basically the same answer, unless they don't work out or whatever, right? Okay, so a couple of rules here. Recovery must be at minimum half of your fitness allocation. In your case, 2 to 1. You're fine.
I thought you were going to say it has to be half. Like it has to be 5 out of 10 points. In
No.
which case, it doesn't leave much for anything else.
I would like it
Yeah.
to be minimum 20% of the total, which means 2 out of 10. Now, and when I say recovery, I don't simply mean muscle. I mean, you need personal time. You need meditation. You need sleep. You need to go to a concert and get out and see people. And so, like, whatever the things that give you energy back, right? Some folks, that's personal time. Some folks, that's social time. Whatever that means to you, right?
Yeah, I actually get a lot of energy from my work.
Great.
And so that's why some of these numbers are a little bit, you can
Always the
kind
case,
of
right?
cloak the underlying dynamics.
So here's what we do from this game. We look at that and we say, if that's our split, Andrew, 5, 3, 2, 1.
5, 2, 2, 1.
5, 2,
Sure.
2, 1.
I'd love to be able to put 3 in relationships just because, but then
Cool.
I need 11 out of,
Right. So here's the fun game we play. You're currently at this, and you don't get to add to 11. You have to stay at 10. Your 10 is different than my 10, maybe, right? But 10 is 10. Or just whatever the maximum you can actually do. It's you. So if we went back to our training goal, whatever that goal was for you, and we went back to our defenders, we would look at this score now and say, is 3 out of 10, fitness was 3, right?
fitness is 2.
2.
So it's 5, 2, 2,
Sorry.
1.
Is 2 out of 10 sufficient to hit that training goal in that time frame you described? And let's say you said, I want to hit a new PR in my mile 6 months from now.
Yeah, for simplicity's sake, and also because it's largely true, I'm going to put myself in what I referred to as bin A earlier.
Great.
Right. My body fat percentage is okay. It's in the range that I would like, but I would like to bring it down a little bit, probably gain a little bit muscle here and there, keep or gain some endurance, and certainly my immediate and long-term health are extremely important to me.
Great. So then the question, and the main answer may be yes, that this is the optimal split for you. If it is not, then we have to make a choice. We either alter the goal or the timeline to make it realistic, or we alter our quadrant. And then if we're going to alter our quadrant, the next step is critically important. We need a list of very specific life actions that we're going to take that allows that split to happen. So if you said, for example, I want to put 3 into relationships, great. What specific life actions are you going to take to pull 1 from fitness? You can't pull any from recovery, or 1 from business. And you don't have to actually answer this. It's too personal. I know you don't like making these things about you because
right. That's the other reason to do it. And it is a diabolical trick to insist that these be whole integers, because I would have done, like a 4.5 for business and a 2.5 for relationships. But obviously you write the rules on this, not me.
So you would just walk through that list. Okay. And the list could be something like, I promise to not work after 7 p.m. Thursday through Sunday, or whatever the thing is, right? I promise I'm going to make sure that I don't start work before 8 a.m. or whatever, right? No more trips. Just make those things specific and measurable, not just like, I'm going to work less. That's never going to go. What is the very specific life action you're going to take? There's going to be an alarm that goes off Tuesday night at 5 p.m. And no matter what, we at Barbell Shrugged, we used to have a little shirt that was like D3 AT, which is like drop everything and train, which means at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, no matter what's happening, we dropped everything and trained. Because that was like when you start a business and you're going, things just run away from you, right? And it's just sort of like, man, it's not my company, but those guys are like, we are a strength conditioning company and we're not training. So we had to just make this hard rule, and it was just like a little thing that came up, and it was easy to say, drop everything and train, 3 o'clock. There you go.
I like this drop D, E, everything, A, and blank. Like it could be drop everything and
correct.
Pick your favorite. No.
Totally. Drop everything and read.
Pick the relevant read. Yeah, absolutely. I really miss reading for pleasure. I would put that under recovery, and potentially
drop everything and breathe.
And
do that a lot too.
And breathe. You were saying, and breathe. I was saying read.
I said that too.
Yeah, because for me, reading is both recovery and relationship. Because oftentimes in my relationships, I've not insisted. I certainly didn't insist. We've had a format of reading the same book in parallel.
Oh, great.
Yeah, not necessarily side by side, but the same book in parallel and then discussing it. It's a wonderful practice, or listening to the same audiobook.
Yep. It works well. You can drop everything and play. Mm-hmm. You're just going to go do something fun. You're going to play video games. You're going to go play with your kid. You're going to do whatever, play with your dog. Like it doesn't even have to actually be play, but play it to you could signify personal time, right? It doesn't really matter. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's I
really like this drop everything and blank category. That you probably shouldn't have more than 2 or 3 of those overall.
Pretty much like 1 to 2 maybe.
Great.
Is where you want to go after that.
So the idea is then to redistribute the numbers on this list, but through a very concrete action. And I like this drop everything and blank because it speaks to the non-negotiable aspect of it.
Has to be. Life will get pushed.
Right. It's not a fine time to, right.
Correct.
It's not in next year I'm going to.
Correct.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. When you put those things you might as well just don't even put it on your list, right? Because it's not going to happen.
Yeah. You're talking to somebody who loves rules. Because when they are non-negotiable rules, they provide this incredible organizing force for the brain.
Yeah.
It's really a neuroscience thing in my mind.
Totally.
And actually, we did an episode on happiness where you find that once people make a decision, if they eliminate the possibility of other decisions, like literally the hatch is closed, that is it.
Burn the boats.
The rates of subjective happiness, immediate and long-term happiness over time go way, way up.
Yeah.
And so I'm convinced that the nervous system doesn't like to keep the valves on these dopamine circuits open. I actually think it diminishes from the reward component. And there are actually some data on this. Anyway, I don't want to take us off track, but
the last part of this, what we do then is we take that quadrant and we take that list, and then you're going to print it. physically, and you're going to put it in 2 places. This could actually be on your phone. You don't actually print it. You can screenshot it. It can be the background of your phone. So every time you click on your phone, you immediately see that quadrant. Like, it's a very clear reminder of, like, what are my priorities today, right? Just a simple little picture. I also like to put it in your place of failure. So for a lot of people, that is like on their laptop or right above their workstation, right? It's like the thing that's going to lose and beat your fitness is your job, typically, right? Or it's on your TV. It's on your Netflix control. No, sorry, Netflix, no offense. But you know what I mean? Like, it's whatever the thing is that you fail for. I play too many video games. Great. There. I work too much. Okay, great. And you put it there, and you put it also, the last component is it has to also be in the hands of somebody who can hold you accountable, right? Wife, training partner, business partner, whatever. So it's like, hey, Andrew, like, you promised you were going to do X yourself. Why are you still here? You committed to this. You got to get out of here. Someone who will like be like, no, it's drop everything and read. It's 8 o'clock. You're supposed to be reading. You got to go. You're going to check back in on that. Check back in every week. Check back in. It doesn't matter, every month. And then you can adjust. It's fine. You can always change the system. But that has to now change. You got to print a new one. And now it's a whole new promise you've made to yourself. So you've got to be able to hold yourself accountable to those things. It's got to be flexible enough to where it's realistic. It can't be, I'm not going to work after 6 o'clock every day. Maybe it's just 3 days a week. Maybe it's on Saturdays, I promise to work for the first 2 hours so I don't work Saturday night, or whatever, or the inverse. I'm not going to work Saturday. You get it. You could come up with a million examples here. So that's the system we use to make sure that we have now properly identified where we're going. We found a roadmap to that, and now we know exactly how we're going to stay on track. I have to take this opportunity to add one more thing to our drop everything list, and you gave the example of deer, which is maybe drop everything and read, or drop everything and relax, or another example. I have to add a deal, which is drop everything, and this is for you, Lex, love.
Actually, one of the advantages of having a dog or having children is that the drop everything and love is often enforced by the faces of those that you love. They just show up in whatever space you happen to be in.
Especially if you work from home.